weren't live then.
Are we on with you? We're live there. Lee McFarland. we'll have a couple of beers. Well, it's not. It's been changed recently, isn't it?
It's gone on to coffee.
Yeah, because sometimes you have to drive from here. So we got the coffee occasion. It'll be last week at the studio. But I haven't pulled my coffee. And then we cheers. I'm going to just do my coffee and crack on. Bear with me. It's not the conventional start to the show. You're at Warwick Castle today.
Yeah, so we.
Well, I've not been there. I lived on the road from there. I've not been in there before.
It's not expensive.
Yeah,
very
is it?
expensive.
Yeah.
32 quid
Which for you and your missus?
each.
32 quid.
Yep.
What you
That
get?
includes the dungeon as well, so you get to go and get scared.
That is fucking expensive.
Yeah.
So you got dungeon in there?
Yeah.
I've seen you can go camping there.
Yeah,
as well.
glamping.
Glamping.
Yeah.
You say lamping or glamping?
Glamping.
Glamping. With a big old medieval tents.
Yeah, so
But
they
then-
do it night and day, so you can go and live like a night for the night.
Do they give you all the costumes for that?
I expect they do.
And did you keep the costume when you went?
Did you see the jousting? Did you get to see the
No,
jousting?
we didn't. We arrived quite late, so I was in London today, so I drove up quite late, so we only got about 3 hours in there.
Is the jousting in the castle?
We got jousting on. They have,
Don't they do the
they have birds of prey as well.
Don't they do jousting by Saxon Mill as well? There's another place.
Saxon
I
Mill.
think, yeah, up the road from there. There's another place up the road from Saxon Mill, a nice pub in the river.
Yeah, Guy's
can-
Cliff.
Is it called Guy's Cliff?
Yeah.
And it's like an old medieval place. You can go in there and you can be a jousting guy on a horse.
Yeah, they got archery.
Yeah.
You can go and do archery down there. They got the falcons.
Hey,
It's
that's
really
what-
nice in there.
Lost one the other day. Falcon went missing. A sea eagle, huge thing, absolutely massive.
Imagine that picking
Yeah.
your kid up on the
They
way
found
out.
it. Found it
Do you two know each other?
No,
No, I was just saying, you know some blokes I do. Big Damer, Colin, used to away.
Oh, right,
one
yeah,
power
yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that. I didn't because I saw you. I even watched the video. Y2X, right?
Yeah.
So I even watched the video. I thought that's a pretty cool video. I didn't recognise you then when you got the car just now. I thought flipping heck. See that ugly mug anyway? I'm joking. I'm joking. So you ex one power.
Yep.
Apologies for not remembering. It must be D&Ds or something.
No, I never got that far.
Hang on a minute. So you're Tom.
Yep, Tom.
And now, so when did you get out?
2005.
And then, and what year did you establish Y2X? That was last year. right?
September last year, yeah.
September last year. What were you doing before that?
So,
What did you do when you got out then? What did you do when you got out?
so I've got out because of doing.
If you keep banging around in front of the microphone, it's going to
Sorry, apologies. Yeah. So I got out in 2005, and the reason for getting out was to go and do private security in Iraq. You know, it was hot off the press. Going
It
into
was
money.
a sweet point then, wasn't it? Oh, 5
Yeah. 2005, 2007 were the best years for financially, and for the blokes. Obviously, I stayed out in Iraq 2009. Come back to the UK, retrained in IT. Spent about a year and a half doing IT. And
What did you do in IT? What was it?
just basic IT support. So literally sitting on a support desk.
Oh, yeah.
Answering calls. Hi Lee, how can I help you?
So I have like a basic level of
Very basic. And then decided to go back out and do some more private security. And so I went out to Afghan. Done that for a year. Then when I come back, I done project management. So I decided to move away from the technical side of IT to more of a management and project management IT. So I was doing that for about 5 years. And I moved out to the Philippines. So,
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I moved out there, lived out there for 2.5 years. So I come back in January 2017.
Who was out
Yeah,
there?
you've only
From,
just come back then.
Yeah.
Who was out there from Edinburgh? The jock.
Um,
The jock guy.
name escapes me now.
The SIGs guy. Oh,
I
the
can't
60.
think.
The
There's a
60.
few lads.
Yeah,
A few lads didn't live out there.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah, there's a couple of ex-lads, regiment lads and ex-power reg lads that live out there. Yeah, so I was out there. I come back in January last year, and because I've already qualified up and I've got all my qualifications, project management qualifications, I started looking for consultant work. And there was a lot of organisations and companies that I won't mention a name that basically offer these great, fantastic careers in project management, but they have some caveats on that. Like you need to go and do these courses, and those courses cost, they say, £20,000. And then you look at the fine print, and what they actually do is they tie you into a 2-year contract, put you on about £3,000 worth of courses, and then tie you in on a really bad shit salary.
So they put you on the courses. The idea is that 2 years you're paying that money back.
Yeah, but you're not. And again, what they've done is they've inflated the price of the courses, So you then you believe that you owe them £20,000 or £10,000, whatever the figure may be, over a 2-year period. You don't actually pay any money back. What they say is you need to be in contract for 2 years. So if you leave contract before 2 years, you have to pay them the sum that they say was the cost of the course.
Do they disclose to you what the salary is of the contract before?
They do. And again, when you're starting out in a new career, it's like, oh, I'll get it. But when you know how much they're charging you out at, and then you see what they're paying you, they don't tally up at all. And so that was where the whole concept of Y2X come from. Actually creating a business, because that's what we are. We're not a charity. We're not a social enterprise. We have a business. We are there to earn money. But we do it under the business model of 51% business, 49% veteran. So what does that mean? It means that we are profit orientated, because being profit orientated allows us to grow the business, which then allows us to help more veterans. But it also means we can pay our guys and girls a good salary for what they're worth. So if we charge out, let's say we charge one of our consultants out £350 a day, and we're paying them 30 grand a year, we know that, okay, our cost over a year is going to be, say, 37, and we recoup, say, 55. What we do is we uplift our employees' salary, so they'll get a bonus every 3 months. So basically, if they're outsourced or we've got them on client site, they're actually earning more money. So everyone wins. We as a business win, because obviously we're earning, generating profit. The employee gets extra money as well as a good salary. And we put them through all their courses with no contract to say you need to pay us back for those courses, or there's no contract to say that they have to stay with us for a specific time. So we're actually trying to do it in a social responsible way, in the sense of actually not taking the piss out of the guys and the girls, and actually giving back to the veterans that are actually given for the country, as well as generating profit.
When you say project management, so you supply project managers, right?
We do. It's more than just project management. So we've got a few core competencies, which are project management, business analysts. We do a lot around compliance. So veterans are very good at understanding process and following process. So you start looking at compliance. All compliance is a following the processes. So we have some core competencies. Currently, what we're trying to do is build out on that, actually, and create a product offering to our customers, to our clients. Doing a lot more around cyber security, so what we call a security operations center. So actually building out our own SOC, and also creating a name to be confirmed, but an academy of such, so we can actually have reoccurring courses and training for our employees and potential employees, but also service leavers, so to help guys and girls that are getting out the mob and the military, and actually give them a step in the right direction.
Are you talking Six Sigma, Prince 2, that kind of stuff, or not?
Yeah, so again, there's all these qualifications out there. So Six Sigma, Prince 2, PMP, APMP. There's lots out there. Now, you can sit there and have as many qualifications as you want, because I can sit there and teach you in a very short period of time how to basically do a brain dump all the information into your head, and you go away and sit a course. Now, as an organisation, I don't want to be putting anyone into one of my clients that has just had a brain dump and they've literally sat there and, okay, we actually want them to understand what they're delivering. So that takes time. And one of the key elements is soft skills, being able to sit in front of a client, have a discussion without going off on a tangent or blowing up. So there's lots of different elements. It's not just understanding the project process or how to deliver a project. It's all those elements that come with that. And that's what we try and do. We try and do a rounded course outline, per se, to ensure that we're actually sending to our clients with the knowledge and the understanding that they can deliver against the client's requirements. So it helps us and it helps the clients, but it also helps the individual. Now, what we find is that people that work for us now are all veterans. They don't want to leave Y2X because we've got such a great.
They don't want to what? Sorry.
Leave Y2X because even though we're training them up and they've got all of these now qualifications and they've delivered some great projects, they're like, well, we like what Y2X is about. We like the way that we work. We are veteran first. So what does that mean? It means we employ veterans first, but there is some taskings that we get from our clients or requirements from our clients that we can't fulfill with veterans. So we do have to look at other options.
Is it? I had a fleeting thought the other day where I must be wrong. It must be to do with the Armed Forces Covenant and all that sort of thing. Is it? I hope it's not. It can't be because you'd be legalised. Is there a special dispensation for companies to be able to say, I'm gonna favour employing veterans? Because in the same line, it's like discrimination of others. But is there? It must be dispensation. Loads of companies do it now.
Yeah, no, I think the thing that I'm seeing, is that companies have actually realised their social responsibility. So we call it CSR, corporate social responsibility. Their CSR to employing veterans. And whether they're the end, so let's take someone like ASDA. ASDA signed up to the Armed Forces Covenant. They say that they're employing veterans, etc., etc. You then have people who go, well, actually, I'm going to shop at ASDA because they have employed veterans, because there is that kind of personal opinion, as a veteran myself, and there are hundreds of thousands of veterans in the UK. Now, the difference between someone doing that and someone solely going, we employ veterans only, from our perspective, there is no legality, because where it becomes, that's a HR. So from a HR perspective, we say veteran first. So we will give precedence to a veteran over a non-veteran. And that's kind of our USP, it's our unique selling point to our customers, that we are veteran first. As I said, there is some tasks that we can't employ a veteran, so we have to fulfill the client's requirements. We do have to go to the wider market and look at other people that maybe not be veterans or spouses of veterans, or so there isn't. You're not just specifically targeting veterans, but as an organisation, we are, because we're not just looking at them as employees, but we're looking to help as many veterans as we can. So a part of there's two elements to Y2X. So there's the commercial side where we earn money. We have employees. We sell them to our customers and our clients. And then there's the other element where we actually help veterans or service leavers as they're leaving the service. So what we do is we get a lot of people message in that say, hey, I'm getting out of the army in 6 months. I don't know what I want to do. So they'll speak to either one of our veterans or employees and find out what they've done. Is that something that they're suited to? Because what we find is a lot of people have this great idea. When I get out of the military, I'm going to be a project manager. Then they find out what a project manager does, and they're like, actually, no, I didn't really like that. Or they're going to spend all their enhanced learning credits or resettlement money on a course, and then they go, actually, I don't like that. What do I do now? So that's where we try and help. We don't force anyone to any career path. We don't force them to sign up with us. What we do is try and get them placements while they're still serving, because the military, the MOD as a whole, is getting very good at allowing service people to have some time off to go and do work placements. So we try and place them with our customers, so they can experience what it's actually like to work in a corporate environment.
Yeah.
So that we're finding great results from that. So that's
how did the blokes find out about your company?
While you're talking, I'm going to move this camera back a bit.
Are you allowed to advertising like the mess and stuff like that, or
so again, because it's all self-funded, so I've funded this myself. I don't have a huge marketing budget, and a lot of what we've done is by word of mouth, and we do there's things like the CTP. You've probably seen the CTP, I don't know, when you left the military career transition partnership. We can use them because obviously we do the veteran element, and we've signed up to the Armed Forces Covenant. We do advertise on them per se, but a lot of what we do is by word of mouth and recommendations.
What did you ask? Sorry, I missed it.
How do they advertise? How do the blokes find out about?
Oh, right, yeah. I suppose with a business like yourself, with we mentioned it, I think we were on a show before, where there's a much more.
Yeah, sweating.
I know.
Nothing wrong with it. Buzzing is no socks on. Look, it's how many years I've got any shoes on. What was I saying then? But because of Afghan and not just Afghan, Iraq and Ireland, this century's been quite hard and fast operations. The public support is sort of more than what it was previously, especially more so now to the tail end of Afghan, and now that that's finished, it's still sort of there. So I think with businesses that do say that they are or do favour veterans in some way, shape, or form, or even just say, we employ veterans as well, not necessarily a favour. Just it's small, that sort of markets itself in a way to a certain extent.
It does, but it's becoming. But I feel that it's also being saturated because what you're finding is you're finding, for me personally, is you see people sign up to the armed forces coming and actually what do they do then to promote that? I see a lot of organisations, some big organisations that actually speak a lot about it, but
it's a marketing tool, isn't it?
And it is. It's that, and it goes back to the CSR, the corporate social responsibility. It's a lot different between us as blokes, ex-military guys that have done it, and but when you start looking at it from a corporate level, it's a very good marketing tool to say, yeah, we're employing veterans, we're doing the right thing. But how many of them? It'd be great to see the official figures from these organisations to see actually what are they doing to help veterans. What is their support network? It's all well and good saying we employ veterans, but what are you actually doing to enhance their career? Or are you just employing them and putting them in a dead-end job? Or is it, you're actually showing that these guys, because even guys that have done 22 years, guys that joined up at 18, they're only 40 years old. They're still young enough to have a second career. Whether if they want it or not, you also find a lot of guys that get out and they just want to do 3 days a week, which is totally fair. But it's really important that we, as a society, that we actually show that it isn't the end of the road leaving the army. It's not that you leave the military and that's it. You're going to just get either working in Iraq, Afghan, or you're going to be sat in Tesco's or whatever. You actually show them, look, there is actually a career path. And I'm a perfect example of that. Now, I've only done 5 years, but, after doing Iraq, Afghan, I've only been in IT, project management, 6-7 years, and I've gone from strength to strength. And that's my drive and determination from what I learned when I was in the reg. You learn perseverance, and now I want to pay it back. And that's really key to me as well, is that people say to me, why are you doing this? I've done really well out of project management. I've earned some money. I've been all over the world with it. And this is kind of my legacy now, to help as many veterans as I can into their next career. And even if they didn't work for us, we'll try and place them or put them in contact with people that can help them on their career path.
Well, sorry to cut you off. The project management, I was thinking this now, for guys getting out, or girls, getting out, with the project management qualifications, and you were saying that, somebody look at it and they, oh God, I want to do that the rest of my career. But it's one of those qualifications, it's applicable in anything you do, whether you become a project manager or not. Because it can be, you can go with your company and learn about it and get whatever qualifications you get and get a little experience and go, stuff that, I don't want to do consultancy or this, that, the other. But then they go to another company and they could end up as a labourer in construction. They could end up in an office doing anything. But with that project management, those project management skills, that is huge these days. Yep. Because of the not legislation, you're talking about corporate social responsibility. You're talking about the quality side of it. What did you mention? Yeah, the quality side of things. Not quality. You didn't say quality. So it made me think quality management. Auditing and all the rest of it. Compliance. The compliance side of things. Companies. One of the biggest things for companies to move towards is the ISO. Compliance thing. 18,001 health and safety, quality management, environmental management. All of those. And when you see, you must have seen them, when you see the checklists that a company has to go through, if they want to get their sort of health and safety compliance, because let's say a company's bidding on, let's say you're a relatively newly formed company, right? You're a construction company, and you're around for 3 or 4 years. So you're just sort of out of the new company era of 3 years, and you get in there, you're getting big enough, and you get a chance to bid in the big contract. For whatever reason, you've got a mate that works there, and they give you a bit of advice and go when you're looking to build 30 houses or whatever. But all of a sudden, you need to get a health and safety qualification, a health and safety accreditation with ISO, it's the International Standards Organization. Yep. Yeah. When you get that, there's a book. You have to buy the book, right? It's like 100, 200, 300 quid for this book to be able to know what you have to do to get the ISO accreditation. It's about this thick. It's like 2 inches thick, right? And it's thick with bullet points, checklists. 1.11. Do you have a documentation of this? and then recording this, and you have a process for this. There's hundreds and hundreds of pages of that, right? You can't just stick Joe Blogs on there, or he's like the office manager, for your construction company as an example, and go square that way. It's huge. It's a project. It's a massive project, and all of a sudden they need something to do it. And you're like a labourer, or a yard manager, or whatever, who got this project management qualification or just experience from 2 years, 6 months ago. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, Jesus, we can do this. Joe's got project management qual. All of a sudden you're off that. You're on a pay rise. You'd be on a pay rise, and you're down in the nitty-gritty. In the industry you went into because you enjoyed that, doing something slightly outside of the box because you got that experience qualifications. Yeah. But even though you didn't want to go into that side of project management, because it's part of the company that you're invested in anyway, you're part of it, you want to succeed, it's your job, then it's almost, it's enjoyable. I mean, short term, but the point is, like I said, it can apply to anything. It is an amazing, and I only realised that last 2 or 3 years from, funny enough, from a CSR side of things, a corporate social responsibility in the big company I was working for in Hemel Hempstead, and then where I was about a year and a half ago, where they had a big project come on, and it's like, how do we sort it out? Well, this is what you need to do, because I know what you need to do, because I've seen it all. It's like a blanket. It can be like a blanket solution to anything. We need to build a house. Project management. That's what's going to solve it. You need to do this, and this. It doesn't tell you specifics. It tells you how you do to get to each stage. And then out of that falls all the detail. Well, we're going to need something to manage this. Well, that needs to be a foreman. We get the foreman, you put all the detail in. You can't do it without someone else. A whole process to get from A to B, track it all, set your milestones, set your achievables, set your targets, and then monitor it all and go, like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And if you want to achieve this project that you need, get your ISO accreditation by November 2019. That's when you need it by. Well, first off, by Wednesday you need to have this done. The end of January you need to have this done. That's what project management is. I enjoy it for the reason I've done it a few times now. For the reason you were saying is that it's processes, and you just document it. Really, just all you're doing is writing down. It's like it's as detailed as a flipping anti-armor ambush. You know, with all the details. That's what it is, mate. To do this, we need this, this, and this, and then we're going to do this and this. It's the same thing.
Exactly it. That's exactly it. And coming, any service, whether it be Army, Navy, RAF, is that you follow process. You need to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You know that you've got to go and do your area cleaning, and as much as it sounds, well, that's only area cleaning, but you know that your process is that. And you know that the CSM is going to be called in, doing the roll call on a Monday morning. Then that's all process driven, and that's exactly what a project is. A project is just a process driven with a set of outcomes, and it's the outcomes that you're achieving for. Now, from A to B, you need to go and do 5 different waypoints. That's your project management like that, and it is that simple. But there is a lot more risk and being risk adverse, risk management around projects nowadays. But ex-military, across the board, know how to risk mitigate.
Mitigate
risk.
The hardest part about it, I found, I did when I was still in. I went to the old the Army Education Centre. Remember that? You used to have the Army Education. We had, no, in 16 Brigade, we had like a central building. You had the auditorium in there, and you got to do training. And CTP in there, and had the Army. What was the Army Education? It was called the Army Education Centre.
Yeah.
It was like 20 PCs with a bunch of courses on. But I went and did Prince 2 Foundation for free. Yeah. Without the exam, I had to pay 50 quid for the exam. I wanted to go on the lash that weekend, so I didn't pay it. But I did the foundation nonetheless, right? I sat 3 mock exams, passed them all. And then you had to pass the 3 to get on the actual exam. I didn't want to pay for it. But when I did that I found it super, super hard. And all it was the vocabulary. Yeah. The vocabulary. Project manager, project coordinator, CSR, corporate social responsibility. We said it about 10 times now. I said it. You've got no idea what it is, have you? Like, and people listening won't. You'll know more on this than I will, but my understanding from my experience before, corporate social responsibility is basically it's where, is it legislation? A company or corporation or organization, right? Who's profitable or not, they should realise that they got a responsibility. I'll take the social out of it, responsibility to to do good things and be aware of the community and the people around them, be that where their office is based or the areas they affect. So they should contribute in some way. So when I was at the company a few years back, when I first experienced it came on board then. It didn't used to be called CSR, did it?
No, it was. What
was
just,
it called before?
I think it was. Again, I think the acronym CSR is kind of, it's a new buzzword, should we say? That everyone talks about. You look at people like LinkedIn, Microsoft. We've had this CSR policy, you know, and they make big advertisements about it, and it's a great selling point because people look at that product that they're offering and saying, well, actually, they're doing something for the community, so I will go and buy that product, you know, and that's why that's why companies do it. But they also, as you rightly said, there is companies that because they are so big, they have huge budgets, and a great way of spending some of their budget is going to do CSR.
A lot of them get around it. The easier way to get around it. We have a local community. They'll donate, like to a local school. They'll donate money, whatever. Some of them will go and send teams out, and they'll do like a not fundraising, but put on a little show or something for kids. Just go to a local community centre and just put on a flipping tea and coffee day. You know, it's just so. Or others will do it by, well, we've got it in. They'll say, well, in this area where our HQ is, then there's a real problem with unemployment from sort of 36-year-olds from this area. So we're going to get to them, give them briefs now to get work and blah, 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 blah. And that basically helping, being good.
Yeah, no, and I think there's, you know, one comes to mind for me is Salesforce. They've got this great thing called VetForce.
Salesforce.
Yeah, Salesforce is a product that a lot of organizations, big companies, big enterprises use to basically manage their sales. So you can imagine someone like CDW or these big organizations that do a lot of sales, and hundreds and hundreds of salespeople out there doing sales every day. They need somewhere to manage those sales and the accounts for those sales. So there's a product called Salesforce, but it also does lots of other cool marketing elements of it. So it's a multi-billion-dollar US company, but they're global. They've got an office in London, but they basically got something called VetForce, where because it's such a big platform and there's so many companies using it, there's developers, there's project managers that solely deal with Salesforce. So they've now created this training program called VetForce. So if you've serving your spouse, your wife served, or you know, they actually go and put you on all these courses for free. They give you all the exams for free. They try and get you jobs for free. And that to me is CSR at a great level for veterans. And it costs them millions every year. They do it for the US and the UK.
How much you generate from?
That's
good if it does. No, it should be.
It works both ways because they're able to then go. Let's say they've got a resourcing. Resourcing is always an issue, and that's why companies like Y2X are about, is because companies don't have the resource. By doing this, they actually increase their resource pool. Right. So they're actually targeting people that have the skills, will have the skill sets, but also have the grit, determination, you know, and you know that element of being able to always deliver against a timeline. Because as military people and veterans, we like to deliver on time. Mm-hmm. We're not like, well, it's 5 o'clock, I need to go home. Mm-hmm. You know, we always go above and beyond because it's in our personalities. Mm-hmm. So that's the element that Salesforce got out of it. They actually increase their resource pool. What they don't ask you to work for them. What they say is that there's companies out here that solely deal with Salesforce deployments, etc. Maybe you want to go speak to them, but they're just trying to increase your career chances, you know, and your education and your knowledge, but they also get the resource pool for them. So I really like VetForce's approach of it, and unlike a lot of American companies where they do a lot for the vets in America but nothing for the vets in the UK, Salesforce has actually gone, nah, we're opening this up to the UK as well, which is really great to see because there's a lot of other companies that don't.
Can we open that door? All right. You're so all right, mate. Your shoes are shoes. Are you listening?
Yeah,
mate. Your shoes got a funny. Oh no, they're meant to be that colour. Your shoes are meant to be that colour. It's Salesforce selling them. It's a good seller as well.
They give me a pair of socks. They give me a great pair of socks, man. We went to a dinner.
Speaking of socks, I've noticed you've got a pair of Valley socks on again.
White ones.
I have.
Just white tennis socks.
I haven't.
There you have.
I haven't. They got white ones on.
Oh, I'll let you off.
comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what it is? I went to buy sports socks, the old pop socks.
Yeah.
For a bit of running. And I bought these. And they were look,
Look at the colour of
they were
that.
proper fakey. I thought, oh, I'm not giving those away. I'm always in white socks. Brilliant.
That's better. There's nice breeze coming from it, man.
Get piling in there.
So
We get some more coffee.
I've just had a bath as well.
Tell me about
my man will go mad.
It's £3,
Midweek bath.
Dad will go mad. Seriously.
The water shortage. It's water shortage on, you know.
Tell you about Afghan, mate. So,
I'll
as
tell you
in,
about
see,
Afghan, man.
I'm not asking you. No. Home security.
Got a shot in the head.
Go right back. So you got out, went to Iraq and CP Institute. Oh, like, what year did you go to Afghan?
2011.
What was it
Yeah.
like? What was that? What was it? I was gonna ask you what Afghan's like compared to Iraq, but there was such a big difference there.
There is a huge
between the time
difference.
scale.
Yeah, but I also think, depending on where you were in Afghan, so I'd done 6 months up in Kabul, which, you know, look, incidents happen, but Kabul compared to somewhere like real Irish in Baghdad,
Yeah.
massive difference. You bring a capital of Iraq and capital of Afghan.
But then Root Irish in 2011 was Bakshi.
Yeah,
Bakshi, wasn't it?
but I'm talking.
I know,
But I'm talking even back in, you know, from what I, again, not being there, but from what I've spoke to, obviously the other operators out there, they said that, you know, Kabul's always been quite, you know, quite timid in the sense of attacks, etc. You look at the longevity of you know, 2004 to 2010 or 2009 Iraq, it was still quite tasty. You know, you were getting smashed at least once a month. You know, if you, I done the convoys when I was in Iraq. I done PSD, low profile, high profile, and done the convoys. When you're doing convoys from some, say, Al Qaim down to, you know, Qasr.
Oh, Al Qaim when we left was unworkable. Al Qaim was on the Syrian border.
Yeah.
West of almost directly west of Baghdad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mate, that was a no go.
Northwest,
When I was up there with Gold Shield with Kazi and that.
Yeah.
And there was an oil company. That was, I don't know if you know this. There was an oil company in there. No, there's a massive gas field there in Al Qaim. A huge gas field just outside of it. And they've been trying to put the infrastructure in to get gas for years, right? And this is, what year am I talking now? Must have been,
I was 2007 up in 8.
yeah, I'm thinking 2012, 2013. I can't remember the company. An oil company came on and said, yeah, like, we want to go in there and plug it. And this is when ISIS had kicked off.
Yeah.
And Al Qaim was one of the staging grounds. Al Qaim was flipping bandit country.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know where else is it. So he used to have, not Basra.
Something there, or
on the east.
Alabama.
No, on the Iranian border. Sounds like Basra, not Basra. Where we
Were in 2005.
no, on PSD. Basra, not. I can't remember. And there was a place in the east, which from the Iran into Iraq during just after the 2003 war. That was bandit country where they smuggling all weapons, and that's what Al Qaim became, right? And this oil company there was a few engineers on this gas field, right? And they were a mix of Iraqis, and I think it was one or two not Iraqis. I'm not going to say Westerners. I think they were like Oriental. Can you say Oriental? Asian, right? Yeah, so Asian. So like Chinese. Right? It's not racist. I think they were Chinese, right? And every time they put someone in, they would have to, if they didn't pay the locals, and well, not mayor, local like flipping elder, right? Yeah. They would get done. They just the place to get locked off, they wouldn't be able to get in. Then if they didn't pay ISIS, or the ISIS fighters who were holding up in Al Qaim, because they were launching from Al Qaim into Syria from there to go and smash stuff from there, didn't pay them, and this was happening almost in every few months. They would just destroy the whole gas field, all infrastructure, just raise it, just to the ground. And this company came in and said, yeah, we want to put people in there. I was like, Jesus. It's not going to be in wagons, you need helicopters. But before you get the helicopters in, you get people on the ground. That's going to be wagons. It was madness. It was going to be millions and millions and millions and millions just to get like a compound there with some PSD. And then it was epic. Because there was only one road in there. There was one road out of Baghdad, west. It went past
Al-Assad.
Yeah, Fallujah, past there, and then all the way to Syria
Route
to
6.
Al Qaim. One way in, one way out, mate. You
Route
you
6.
got there, you were never getting out. You were never getting out. And needless to say, the gas field still hasn't been tapped. It's flipping crazy.
Who did you work for over in Afghan when you went over there?
So I was with Global, and then I went over to EI down in Kandahar. So
Oh,
I was
did
down at KRDC. So they're doing the fuel convoys for KRDC, which is only 2k down the road into Kandahar.
From where? Don't know.
Was we
KRDC.
there at Morgs in Paddy and
No, who did we have? So it was a lot of the, so what happened was that EI won the contract off a local firm or New Zealand firm / local firm in 2011, 12. Yeah, so it was a whole new team, but a lot of the guys jumped ship from the old PSD company to the new one. So who did we have? Yeah, I don't know, Paul. There was no Scott Evans, ex-Repath.
Oh, I know.
Scott
yeah,
Evans,
it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was down there. He was one of the TLs. Who else was down there? Yeah, because it was only me and him that were ex-Power Rangers down there. But a lot of the guys had jumped over. There was it was just a mingle of guys down there.
Really, the way that it's not. I suppose it's not weird. You go from project to project, company, even something that's company to company. How big it's like unitized, but well, it's not. It's for bringing your mates. And yes, it's like when I was working with Taz, flipping guards everywhere, mostly Welsh guards, guards everywhere. But the two of the top dogs were guards. And then, but then when I went to EI, so when I left in 2011 September, stepped straight onto a contract with EI. You talk about transitioning out the army is a nightmare. It wasn't a transition. I set on like a project, 120 people, 70% were Power Edge.
Yeah.
Probably half of them were
you find
new.
it, like you look at Aegis back and you look at Aegis, it was like that. All their teams were all Power Edge teams, you know, and EI, Blue Ackle, Kroll, what used to be Kroll back in 2005, which is my Guide of the World. It was all Power Edge at the Marine Heavy. It was, you know, and it was all Arbin with Mucker in, Arbin with Mucker. And we were selling, you got the blood clot.
Are you Blackwater, or what they call now as resurfaced in Africa? It was Blackwater, then it was Z, and there was Academia, wasn't it?
Academia, that's it.
Academia, and then it's gone to something else. They've resurfaced in Africa, apparently. What's his name, that guy owns them?
Prince, isn't it? It's Saint Prince.
Eric Prince.
Eric Prince,
yeah.
Yeah, but he makes more money from his training ranges. So he's got multiple training facilities in the US, and that's where he earns all his money, getting all the Middle Eastern armies out there, and they go and train on his training ranges.
Oh, really?
Yeah, huge.
What, they fly to America?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I know a couple of ex Hereford boys. They go out there and literally run some pistol ranges and stuff, and huge money.
What a bluff. How long did you do in Afghan on the circuit?
So 14, 15 months. So I was at Global for 6, and I was probably about 18 months because I was down at Canada for 12 months. It was okay to make the money. Look, the money back in 2005, 2006, 2007 was great. You know, you could like it tax free. I earn more now as a consultant. So I'm not talking about what the company earns, but I earn as an individual when I go in, because I still consult. I still have to bring the bread on the table for myself and the company. So I go out and I earn 2 times, 3 times as much as that. You know what the guys were saying. I've heard of guys on £152 a day.
Yeah.
Where's this now? Afghan?
Iraq.
Oh, and less.
No.
Yes, mate. Less.
Why would you?
You're looking at $100, $120 a day in some contracts. Dollars, USD. What's that?
Why? I just don't understand why you'd be away.
Well, you got listen to this thing.
Well, a lot of people think it's a stepping stone. They're getting a foot in the door. They're going to do that. They'll do a project that's not earning a lot, but once they're out there, there's a chance you can. That's changed as well. Whereas a lot of when contracts finished, you could hop ship onto another company, but it didn't work like that now. You have to go back to England.
Yeah, you got to do all the visa stuff.
Do all your visas get stamped with the company name on, so you can't just go to any company. You got to go back and do the interviews and stuff. You got to go back through the chain of command. It's changed a lot, isn't it?
When you get out there, people are often, and you know this when I say it, and you as well. People are often, oh God, it's a rut you get into, and you think mistakenly that the more experience you get out there, in the back of your mind, you think that is, oh, that's going to help when I get back. Go into security when I get back. Or the other thing is that you know, my money might go out. I'll mount you. I'm getting money. Either one, that second one is, are you waiting to get a better contract? That's a fucking gamble. That is a gamble you don't even take it, right? The other one, the first one, is where you let me get back. It doesn't. unless it does not, unless you end up in in management for a significant period of time, where you can go back and say I was an operations manager for 4 years, or as a transport manager for a few years. I mean, but for years, to be doing that for years, you must have been out there for 10 years, 6, 7, 8 years, training manager, that kind of, so for that experience, I'd say that is the only thing really of value, right? From a qualification and training side of point of view, is being in a management role for a significant period of time. You can go back in your CV, and it's not just, I did private security in Iraq or Afghan or wherever. It's, I worked in Iraq doing this, and it's a progression, and I finished off doing 2 years as a training manager. Brilliant. You've got your management experience. You've got experience. It doesn't necessarily equate to what you do in civvies back in the UK, but it will equate more than being a security pod. And it's a much better, you've got a much better option of transitioning to a decent job back in the UK. But if you haven't got that, and you haven't got any management experience, and very few people do, look how big the projects are. They're massive. Team leader does not count for shit. It doesn't. They do. Listen, team leaders do an amazing job. I'm not taking it away. I'm just saying you come back to the UK, it doesn't mean anything. You need like a management experience or not. And because the majority of people out there, they don't get that opportunity to have that management experience, right? Then they come back to the UK, and they're almost in the same position as they were when they left the military, or the day before they started in that private security, in terms of the chances of getting a job.
Yeah, just got a bit more money in the bank.
A bit more money, and they're older, and they've got they're less time to have that career. They feel more pressure. They got to get a decent job, and all of a sudden they're applying for flipping craziness, going into jobs that they hate. They don't want to do. It comes back to that. I mean, how do you combat that? How do you combat that if you're out there on a circuit now and you're like listening or watching, which may be the case? How do you combat it? Well, you've got to. You have, with that spare time you have, be it when you're off task and you're back in your flipping room in Iraq, in Afghan, in Africa, wherever you are, you need to try and dedicate that time to some sort of CPD, continuing professional development. Right, that's one option. Yeah, and the other option is when you come, as I did when I came back. I did do that when I was out there, but when I was coming back on rotations back for 3.5, I did mostly 8 and 4s. So when you get back, you're 8 weeks away and like 3.5 weeks off. Well, 4 days of that's taken up by flipping travel. Yeah. Right, so then you got 18, 17, no, 20, 21 days off, right? I would try and do a job for anyone when I was back at any one time. Just build up that UK experience and network. At some stage, you've got to sacrifice some of your own personal time to get what you need. Because if you don't, and you're going off and just gym queen the whole time, gym queen's fine, but you're doing nothing else to sort of help yourself at the end, going back to the UK, you are stuffed. See it all the time. Yeah. See it all the time. I mean, what else would you recommend?
I think for me, and I see it a lot, and I've seen it with my brother. My brother's ex-Power Edge, and again, he spent nearly 10 years out in Iraq, and he got into management position, etc. And it was taking that step. I think that's the hardest bit for anyone, is actually taking that step and going, you know what, my brother 10 years, got a house, paid for the house, etc. So done okay out of it, but he now he's back in the UK and he's taking a pay cut because he's starting again. And
I think the pay cut you have to accept. I think
you do. I think depending on what your drive is and what you want to do, I know blokes, that are able to go out and from day one go in. If you go and consult for yourself, you can go earn $450 a day. Now, don't really want to get hit by a tax man, but you can still earn a good wage. It does.
When you're and it's not just for people listen. When you're saying go out and consult, right?
Yep.
Explain with what. So let's say I did a scenario, right? I've just come back from the pit.
Yep.
And I want to. I think, what am I going to do? Well, Lee McFarlane said I can do something. There's some serious money. What's he talking about?
Okay, so you have two options when you do this. So you have one, you go and work for a company. Now, working for a company, you get your benefits, you get tax paid, and you can do pretty much the same job, but it's permanent. So you're guaranteed work for the next how many years you stay there, and as long as they're obviously open. Or you could go on what we call contractor consultant. And what does that mean? It means that you generally get a 6-month contract, very much like in Iraq, so it's very much what you're used to. You can go and work for a company doing the same job, but because only for 6 months they increase the day rate. So instead of being 150, 200, they actually increase that and put it to say 450. But you've also got the ability to walk away when you want. You don't get any benefits, so healthcare, gyms, and all those other niceties that you get from a permanent role, you don't get that from contracting. Now, if you just come back from the pit, you're not really going to care about having a gym membership or, you know, healthcare, because that's what you're used to anyway.
Gym membership they might care about.
Yeah,
Gym
yeah. Some of them. But yeah, so there's the ability to do that. Now there is a cost to that. You still have to pay taxes. But the one thing that I would say about consulting or contracting is that you could pretty much get yourself a good accountant, 120 quid a month, and you can expense everything: your fuel, your travel, your clothes, your dinners. You can actually recoup a lot of your expenses, your monthly expenses that people say will actually use for example, a room in your home as an office. So actually claim some of your electricity back, claim your internet back. So those monthly bills that you currently have, you can actually reduce and pay from out the company, so you don't get taxed on it. Mm-hmm. So the money that you actually getting. So there's that. What's the difference between the two? And what do I, for me, you get the security of a permanent role. You've got that security of knowing that you're going to get the same salary every month for the next foreseeable future, for the foreseeable future. With consulting, you might go into a 6-month gig, and then I would say probably 70 to 80% of the time it always gets extended. They generally look at it as 6 months and then they extend 3 months, etc. But you might get to the end of the 6 months and they don't extend it, and then you spend 2 months without finding any work. So there is a risk to it.
But on the other side, yeah. So you basically get more money because it's you haven't got the financial security for years, like you said, it's shorter, and you haven't got the benefits. That's the majority of it. And quite often as well, it's more money because sometimes they only need your expertise for that 2, 3, 4, 6, 12, 18 months, because they've got, as an example, they need flipping ISO accreditation, or they've got they've got a security manager who's left. They know they've got a 4-month gap because the next guy coming in or woman coming in and we need a security manager for 4 months. Bang, you're in, get a higher rate. I'm talking about corporate entities now. But with that, in that consultancy, with your experience doing that in the UK, you're indirectly networking. Yeah. So let's say you do 6 months of a job and it ends and then you're out of a job. You've just had 6 months of a company who know you can do a good job, and you'll know a bunch of people then, and they'll be able to help point you in another direction. Let's say you do 2 or 3 jobs. You've got 2 or 3 different organisations and bunches of people who know you can do a good job. So if you're in out at work or and then go, yeah, and then we'll recommend you on. You're networking in the place you need to get the job in the UK, in the industry you're good at. But so from the consulting side, it could be any industry doing anything. Can't it?
Yeah, I think you look at what's happening within the economy and what people are doing. There's a word called the gig economy, which is actually using gig economy, which is using freelancers, using people on a very short period. Because what it does, it reduces the business headcount, it reduces their outlay. They know that they only need to pay X amount of pounds over X amount of period without pension contributions, etc. So a lot of organisations and it reduces the overhead of admin, so HR, dealing with any HR issues, etc. So a lot of companies are looking to that. So you'll see a lot of people that say, well, we'll be contracting out 10 roles this year, saves us bringing in 10. So it is, you've seen a lot of companies doing it. So that ranges from your banks all the way through to your hospitals. So it's a very broad spectrum in multiple roles. It's not specifically project management, IT. Consulting happens everywhere, and it happens with every single career path or vertical that's out there.
Mm-hmm. Afghan finished. I'm jumping about you.
You got mate.
The Afghan, the PFC side interesting. Afghan finished.
Yep.
Afghan finished. You left Afghan.
Yeah.
The PFC side. You came back. You said you went into the IT support.
No, so I when I left Iraq, I got into the IT support. So I had wedgie money, and I was like, "What am I going to do?"
Oh, that's right. In between.
Yeah. So what happened? So I quickly touch on that. So when I left Iraq, it was only 2009, and I was like, "What am I going to do?" So I went and done some Microsoft courses, the CompTIA A+ courses, and like, I'm going to get into IT. It was difficult. I'm not going to lie. I joined the army because I didn't have much of an education. I didn't have a great education, left school early, etc. But I done my exams, passed my exams, got a job at the NHS in London. So that was a contract. You know, it was first job. You know, it was like £100 a day. You know, and I was like, yeah, smashing this. And then the contract ended, and it rightly so. You know, this is the risk you take. So what am I going to do now? So I sat around for a little bit, moved to another organisation, a brokerage, financial brokerage. Again, worked there for a year. And again, contract comes to an end, and I was like, what am I going to do? And 2 months sat about, and I was like, do you know what? Let's see what's out there. So I spoke to a couple of the boys that were out in Afghan, and they're like, yeah, get out. So I went out with Global, and that's how I got back into it. Because there was that lull in my contract in, you know, IT, in my IT career. So I'd done that, but as I was out there, and especially when I was down with VI, I knew that my exit plan was I wanted to get back into IT. So exactly as you said, while I was out there, you know, I was an ops manager, so I was doing 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And I was literally, when I was on and the boys went on the ground, I was literally studying, just picking up on my project management, ensuring that I had enough knowledge to be able to be knowledgeable, but not a professional, you know, because you can't be a professional until you deliver. So I then left Afghan. I went back into IT, and I worked solely consulting. Worked for some big IT professional service providers in the UK. So done projects in Kenya, Singapore, China, America. So I've been all over the world delivering big technical projects, and I met some, and as you said, I met some people, and those people are now my non-executives of Y2X. These are guys that have been with me for my IT career. They've been my mentors, and they've helped me mold myself into a good, what I feel is a good business leader and a CEO, but also helped me build out the strategy. Because look, I'm not a businessman. I'm a guy that understands project management. I understand what the customer needs, and I've built on that, and I understand what veterans need on the transition. So I've tried to bring those in together and actually create something that helps not just the veterans, but also our customers, our clients, because I think it's really important that we're not just going, veterans are amazing because they are, but we also need to be able to show that to the end client that they're important as well, and that's why we deliver for them. So that's where it really, and then I got offered a job I was working down at the NHS in Plymouth on a big, huge multi-million-pound project. And I got a call from the Philippines to go and work out there. So I was out there for 2.5 years, met my wife. So I've got a beautiful, small Filipino wife. And then we come back. I come back by myself last year, visa issues and stuff. So I come back January last year, and kind of spent 7 months floating between projects. I was consulting, so a couple of projects on the go, and then dealing with some other organisations. I just thought, guys, you're doing really wrong by veterans. I feel, you know, that they're not doing wrong. I think that's the wrong word. I feel that they could be doing more in a more productive way without actually ripping the ass out of it. You know, and I think that's, for me, is a key element. Is that there is about turning profit. You do need to be able to turn a profit. You do need to generate revenue, but at what detriment? And who is it detriment to? And I think that's the point. It's detriment to veterans when you're paying a small wage, you're tying them into a 2-year contract that they don't need to be tied into, and you're scaring people. And I think that's giving people the perception that this stuff's scary, but actually it's not.
I like what you were saying earlier about your financial model, and that, and you know, and that the way you break it down and the percentages year, and a lot of the focus is on retention and just the profit. And I completely agree with you. My business partner Luke, who you may know actually, Gardy. When we formed the company, that was one of the key things we said. Is that, and the company initially started as a security company, right? Off my own experience, he was still in it actually. Off my own experience with it, it's like flipping heck. For the money that the companies I'm working for make, they pay peanuts, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't do. They should pay more, because why not? Why not reduce your profit by 10% and increase whatever the relative ratio will be? Increase your pay, you guys, by 8%. Be less fucking greedy, right? Because in doing that, you attract a higher quality of people. And even if you don't do that, the people you've got, they are more inclined to stay, which means the experience level of your workforce goes up because you get more people there for longer. They value your company more, which means they're more invested in, which means they have a better engagement with the customer if the customer fits in, or if they're not, they're providing a better service or providing a better product, which means the customer's happy. So it all comes back around. So although like directly the company may take a cut on if they enacted this retrospectively, which would never happen. The shareholders would not be satisfied. It would only happen if, in the case like a new CEO took like yourself, like, what the hell are you doing? We're sorting this out, right? But if like the direct impact is right, we're spending more. We've got less of like a bottom line. Sorry, not bottom line. We're spending more on wages now because flipping knob jockey Lee has increased the wages by 10%. But that's the direct impact.
Yep.
Give it 6 months, not even that. The profits will go up. They will, or maybe longer, but the profits will go up for the reasons I just said. It's like, maybe not 10% is an extreme number.
No, but I mean, you look at the cost of actually onboarding someone. You know, you look at the cost versus retention versus onboarding, and you look at, and again, it's difficult to obviously for small organisations. But you look at big organisations where they're hiring 50, 60 people a month. You look at the onboarding costs, you know, actually advertising those jobs, getting them interviews, the manager's time for doing the interview. So let's say you get 10 applications for one role, you've got 50 roles, you know, you start doing that out and you start looking at time cost versus being able to retain someone. That 10% isn't actually a bad figure, is it? And that's the point.
Yeah.
And it's not what that 10% also does for the business, but the individual. That person is then able to go to the kids, oh, do you know what, let's go down to Wallet Castle for the weekend. Let's go and do that night and day. Let's go, because then all of a sudden their home life gets better because they're not stressing about how am I going to pay to get to work this month. You know, and it's we say a couple of £100, but a couple of £100 actually goes a long way in a household. You know, you look at and then that's the impact it has. And I think, you know, being able to have that impact for a bit of profit, it's worth it all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And transparency, the one thing I would say is for us, it's all about transparency. We need to we are building, Y2X is building a organisation where we have transparency, that people actually believe in what we're doing, they know what's going on. It's not all skullduggery and, the CEO's driving around in a Ferrari. It's the fact is, everyone knows this is what it is. They know that they're being charged out to the customer at 400, but they're getting an uplift of 25 quid a day. They're happy. Look, that's 25 quid.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a margin in it. There's going to be a margin in there, but it's got to be realistic.
Otherwise, you haven't got a job, you know, and there has to be that.
Yeah.
But for me, it's really important that we start building, and not just Y2X, but I think organisations generally should be more transparent. And you know, I keep saying it's great making a profit, and you're able to grow by doing that, but it shouldn't be detriment to your employees.
No. Did you set up a business before? No.
No, well, so that's a lie. So no,
you can't lie, mate.
I know it is. So Y2X was actually called Y2X Connect. So when I first set the company up, I called it Y2X Connect because it was all about connecting. You know, so the reason why the company's called Y2X is actually a mathematical variable. So it's it basically brings two variables together, which is veterans or service leavers veterans to corporate. So that's the reason behind Y2X. So I did set up Y2X Connect and then changed it. And the reason for creating the second company, Y2X, was because when I set the company up, I just fluffed it. Totally messed it up. And like, how many shares? I'm having 1 million shares to myself. Well, actually, I only needed to be like 10. And I'm just like 1 million. It just made me feel really important. It was just stuff like that. And then when I started bringing on non-execs and I got a lawyer involved, it was like, we could have literally changed the name of the company.
Start again.
It was just for the amount of time that it had been running, I just wanted to just cut the time, create a new company.
So by the time you change it, you're already profitable.
Yeah. So again, we've done really well, you know, and I'm really, really happy. We're turning over some great figures, but we're also hiring more veterans. So. And that's what I want to be able to show. We've got an event on the 26th of July at HMS Belfast.
You sent me that. I sent me the email. I saw it. Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah. So we'll be showing our figures there because I think it's important that people that are either clients or veterans, they actually see how that looks. So,
Explain the event.
so the event is a night, an evening of Y2X. So it's a commercial networking event. So we're inviting veterans and organisations to come along on board HMS Belfast. Free food, free drink. Couple of keynote speakers. One for GDPR compliance. Got Phil Campion.
He's come on. Phil's come on.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so got Phil coming on as to talk about transition. He's done some great bits recently and talking from a kind of high level and the transition, not so much for the veteran, but also going into organisations, what organisations can achieve from hiring a veteran. So Phil will be doing a talk on that, and then we also have a talk on cybersecurity and why veterans moving into cybersecurity and what's happening within the world. Why cybersecurity is becoming such a key point. And
so talking about as an industry that veterans could go into.
Yes. Yeah, and it's a key element of what we deliver. So we're building out, as I said, we're building out this cybersecurity academy. So it touches on that.
Oh, so the academy is a cybersecurity academy.
Yeah,
I didn't realise. I thought it was an academy for training courses.
Yeah, so there'll be different elements. So there's going to be cyber, there's going to be compliance, there's going to be GDPR. So we're actually building this out, and one of the elements is cyber, GDPR, project management, business analyst, QA, quality assurance, etc. Yeah. So as we grow, we're going to be able to start offering more and more products, and then we offer them to our customers. So it's just going to be a night for people to shoot the shit, have a few drinks, and listen to some people go off. And that's pretty much it.
What day is the 26th?
26th is Thursday.
Thursday.
I never do a Friday in London because everyone wants to go on a Friday. So if you do a Thursday, no one really works on a Friday, so they all have a drink on a Thursday night. So smart. So I never figured that.
Hey, Fridays. I love Fridays in London. You go about 2 p.m. and all the office staff are outside the pub pile of it. How did you end up in London then? Where are you from?
Originally from Bristol.
I thought it was the accent.
Yeah, so originally from Bristol, and when I left, I joined the army at 16, so I went out to AFC.
Harrogate.
Harrogate. Yeah, so never really went back and flipped around the country, lived in multiple different countries and done a lot of travelling. And look, London's where the money is. If I tried doing this in somewhere like Bristol, trying to get off the floor would just be. And because I've got a lot of my network, my professional network in London, I was able to get some clients quite quickly, which was everything generate revenue for the business, which has allowed us to grow. So London, we want to expand, but we just want to bed in first, and
it's a good base, especially the old boy network down there. Did you go to the Pegasus network in London?
No.
Are you aware?
No, I am, and again, and not to say, but we're trying. There's loads of networking events for military. What I'm trying to get into is the where there isn't military, because they're the people that need to know about. We can all go and sit in a pub and be all veterans. It's not achieving anything. We can all go and grab a sandbag and put up a sandbag and have a good old chinwag. But actually, I'm trying to hit the people that don't know about veterans. And those people, the networking events that are key to us is the ones that don't have veterans go to it because they feel like they're not allowed to go, or there's that whole prestige around it. Well, I'm actually trying to kick the door down and say, let the boys come in, and I think that's what we're trying to do, and actually take a lot of the stigma around veterans.
What about you could a good thing to look at in terms of feedback. I think you already do it. So if you went to these events or you did a talk or whatever, and to be able to give it, you must do actually. I'm talking rubbish. Case studies. Like such and such company didn't even know about it, and they had flipping Joe Bloggs rock up, and this is what they had to say about it. And they didn't intentionally hire him. The guy was ex-Navy, ex-RAF, or the lady was ex-Army, or whatever. Yeah. And this is what companies that stumble across it, the benefit.
I think the benefit's easy to you can sit there all day, and it doesn't take long to actually see some of the press that's out there about the benefits of hiring veterans, etc. So I don't think I need to bang that drum anymore. It's actually pushing them. I want to push them over the edge of that and just say, look, let's do it, because there's that apprehension of how do we make it work. So we speak with a lot of SMBs, so small medium businesses, that don't actually understand how they approach the whole recruiting a veteran. They think it's totally different from hiring a civic.
How should they approach it?
I think one is growing your network. I think if an organisation wants to hire a veteran, the one thing I would do is look at someone like the CTP or organisations that are already hiring veterans, like Y2X. There's multiple other organisations that do it, and actually say, okay, well, we're looking to hire. We need some apprentices or trainees that are going to come in. For example, let's say visual engineers, for example. They can actually go and that's what I would say to organisations, actually go to someone like the CTP, Armed Forces Covenant, because they'll help you. They'll actually walk you through it all. And that's how you would approach it.
Veteran Own's another one, isn't it? I've recently heard about it. Have you heard of this? It's more of a network of businesses owned by veterans, isn't it?
Yes.
But there's no recruitment company that deals almost exclusively with veterans, is there? I suppose it'd be difficult.
There is. So there is one, and again, there's lots popping up.
Oh, I'm thinking of one now with Hedwin. His name's Hedwin. Oh God, it might be called Flipping Forces Recruitment actually.
So you've got X Forces, you've got X Mill Recruitment, and then you've got MRHK, MR Military Resettlement Headquarters, MRHQ. But again, these are solely middlemen from and the problem that you have with that, they don't really care about the transition, or they obviously want the customer to have the right person, and they want the guy to get the job, etc. Because that's how they earn their fee.
Well, they probably do care about the transition, but it's not what they affect. They're in the middle. They can't have an impact on it, and they've got on their businesses at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's probably that recruitment is that's how they make the turnover, the exclusive way they make the turnover. I mean, I've dealt with external recruitment in the past, but no one else really.
But again, I think there's a lot of press around hiring veterans, and I think companies have caught on to that, and I think rightly or wrongly, and I think there's lots and lots of companies out there that are doing it for the right reasons, and they've got a passion for doing it. I think there is also some companies out there that are doing it because they know it's a quick sell and easy sell.
But then if that still benefits veterans, then
but does it? And I would agree with you, but my concern is let's say Joe Bloggs gets out of the military, just get out of the military, and you've got Company A that is pretty scrupulous, and they're saying, hey, come work for us because we're gonna, and all of a sudden Joe Bloggs is going, oh, I got a job at 25k, but he's been on 18k because he's a Tom or whatever, he's only done 5 years, very much like myself, 25k, 70k. Then all of a sudden he realises that, hey, he's got to pay for his own accommodation, he's got to pay travelling to work.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden he's also owes them 10 grand because they paid for his courses.
Yeah.
And they're charging him out at 400 quid a day. That's scrupulous.
Yeah.
But they've trained him, well, actually, a detriment to him.
So with yourselves, correct me if I got this completely wrong. I'm not butchering this.
Yeah.
You can provide training and courses in that way. You don't tie that. Look, you have to pay us back over a certain amount of time. But obviously, you that's costing you, right? So you have to reclaim that. You have to get that money back in some way. But the way you're doing it is based on a better quality of worker, worker, consultant, whatever, and that retention. You're going to have them for longer. So it's an indirect recuperation of the cost over long term.
You look at this is, and so I have this conversation.
That's correct, though, yeah?
But that is correct.
Okay.
So you also look at the cost of a course. You go to Prince 2 now. You can get it for 695 quid for the practitioner. The 5-day course. It's cheap. Courses, because they're dime a dozen now. We don't just talk about putting people on courses. What we talk about is a career progression and career development. We're not expecting you to come in day one and be Superman and be able to run multi-million-pound project. What we're looking to do is come in and actually have the drive to say, this is what I want to do and this is the company I want to do it for, because we're going to support them. We're going to help their career development, but we're also going to slowly but surely get them built up to be able to go and run multi-million-pound projects. Because then all of a sudden, instead of charging them out 400 quid a day, I'm charging them out 1,500 quid a day. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. As much as it's an outlay and there's a risk, but that's a risk that as the CEO and the owner of Y2X, I'm willing to take.
that's what I was thinking. You know, when I realised the way you get it back is, mate, it's not risk, it's faith. I mean, you put a lot, and I admire that you put in a hell of a lot of faith, because it's money at the end of the day, and without money the business fails, right?
Yep.
And you know, there's not saying, hey, you've got to claim it back somehow. If you're not saying you're going to charge it back, you put in a hell of a lot of faith and risk, and all the faith is going on the quality of the people you're recruiting.
Yep.
And if the majority, not exclusively veterans, but the majority of them are veterans, then right, you can't say fair enough. It's a huge thing.
No.
But I bet that the way you run the company, and the way that you managers and your staff run the company, is that pressure, that risk on you is not passed down to the recruitment.
I think, you know, it goes back to transparency. You know, we're straight up. You know, I say to them, look, guys, we are putting faith in you, and it's not about saying this one individual. We've got a new starter starting. He's currently still in the military. He's on his final exercise, and he's actually on exercise now. But he starts with us in end of August, September, and there's no pressure on him. But I'm like, while you've got some downtime and, you know, you're doing your final couple of weeks, why don't you ever read these articles? Why don't you read this? You know, and it's about prepping them, because they know they're coming in and they're like, but I've said to them, look, when you start, we're going to get you on this BA course. Oh, awesome! Because all of a sudden he feels appreciated. He feels like I'm somewhere where I'm going to be.
It's huge pressure off the mind as well.
Huge.
Not many people know what they're doing when they get out. I was lucky enough to, about a month before I left, Uncle John said, you got to start. In fact, you know, I'm talking rubbish. He said the month I started, didn't get a start date until the day before, and the start date was before I left the army. I flew out and then left the army, right? But hardly any people know what to do when they get out. So even just to have that, even if they don't want to go and do it, you're thinking they've got a job. The pressure's off. In fact, that's another point actually. They don't often think that. The mistake, I'm thinking back to my own thing, the mistake people can often make, guys when they're in and girls when they're in, because they don't understand City Street, is a lot of the time think that what they step into when they leave, that is them.
Yeah.
There's no, you know, they're probably going to stay in project management all their life, quality assurance all their IT support all their life. No. Look, this is like my advice is, if you get offered something, whatever it is, and for lack of other options, take something, anything. You got bread going on the tip. All right, maybe it's not. Let's say you're a platoon sergeant, or let's say you're let's say you're a Tom, right? And you're earning what, 17, 18K a year, yeah, and you're getting out, and the money you're going to do is that much. It's the same, but you think I want more. So take the job, because it leaves the pressure you get out. You've bought yourself time. Okay, it could be working in flipping the pasty shop, Greg's. You're earning the same money, right? Doing that, get out, do that job. You've got money on the table. The pressure's off the average of trying to find a job. You've got time to find what you want.
Yeah,
without having to be the time pressure of getting out. It's get out there.
I think there's an old saying that's it's easier to find a new role when you're in a role, and it is. But the one caveat I would say on that is, don't shoot so low that you just dishearten yourself, because what you'll find is people go, well, I've been trying to be a site security manager in London for Barclays Bank for the 6 months lead up, so I haven't got that, because they get their heart so set on a specific company with a specific role with a specific title that they think that's them, and they think, if I don't have site security manager, it's not worth my while. Well, actually, you'll find that a risk manager with inside a compliance officer with inside that does site security, because it's part of compliance and it's a different title, who gets paid more money, and there's multiple roles out there. Is the key, is actually that don't aim so low that you just dishearten yourself, but don't stick yourself to one specific title, or, you know, that whole area. People say, well, I'm getting out, I've lived in Dover for the last 10 years and I want to stay in Dover. Well, look, we all know there aren't many jobs in Dover, you know, and that you got to set those expectations to yourself. So if you want to go and earn a 30, 41 salary, don't be expecting to earn that in Dover. So setting expectations for yourself, but also being able to aim high. You know, look, aim high. You know, anything above it is great, but you know, it's not so bad hitting a bit lower.
Yeah, aim high is definitely a good bit of advice. When one of the jobs in fact, when I came back from the pit, actually, I came back and I had about I think I had about 2 months worth. That's crap with money. I still have crap with money. I had 2 months worth of 2 months of money to try and get a job. I applied for hundreds and hundreds of companies. When I was applying I did my NEBOSH while I was out in the pit. I came back and spent a couple of weeks doing a few courses. And then I came back and started applying for jobs. I was applying for those out there as well. I applied for hundreds. I didn't get any positive replies. And it was health and safety and security I was looking at. And our part-time said basically all the jobs you have to have experience to get a job, but to get you have to have a job to get experience. To get a job, you have to have experience. It's like you can't do one without the other. So I twisted some words. Well, I say I didn't twist some words. I didn't like, but like site security manager stuff I was doing in Iraq, which was predominantly security management. But there's elements of health and safety there, like wear your hard hat. Don't go and drink the chemical. Don't go drink the green stuff. Yeah, don't lay next to the petrol tank, right? So health and safety stuff. So, and you have to brief that down to the Iraqi teams. So what are you doing? Yeah,
you might as well be a teacher. You might as well go work in kindergarten.
Yeah, and then I had on my CV, I had site security manager, a site security health and safety manager. Yeah, but I did those things. I changed the title slightly, what I did, but I wasn't lying about anything I did. So I had a little bit of experience, and what she ended up saying. The partner then was she said there's a job here, and it's like it was really good. It's like a working from home job, and it was 50k a year. I'm like, oh my god, that's the ballpark I was looking for. Working at home, 50k, and I got a car allowance. I'm working from home. It was mental. Honestly, private health, pension. I think this is brilliant. And I looked down at qualifications. I didn't have the qualifications. It wanted a NEBOSH diploma. I only had a NEBOSH certificate, which is like a 2-week course. It wanted a graduate IOSH membership. I didn't have that. I had technical IOSH membership, like 2 levels below. And I wanted 5 years of health and safety manager experience. It was a corporate health and safety manager role. No. I didn't have that. And but everything I've been applying for was rigidly in line with what I had. And I think, and she said, no, just have more confidence in yourself. Apply for it. Because on paper is one thing. Right, and this is what I realised since is from the majority of ex-military, right, male, female, Army, Navy, RAF, flipping, even you could even say T8 or what do you call them, reservists now, right? You stand out in certain ways, certainly from a confidence perspective on the other side. So if you can get in front of the recruiter, this is what I think previously. I went and got that job. That's the only reply I had. I went down. I was like, I ended up on the phone. I phoned up, and this is like a thing I would do anyway. I would send a CV off, and then would try and get hold of the recruiter on the phone. Or by email. I did it by phone because that personal. Find it out, and this is by sneaky beaky online looking. Who's the recruiters for? Let's say I apply for Barclays. Who's recruitment for Barclays? Who uses them? What section it's for? Even for the team, I ring the team and go, hello, I've just applied for a job. Who do you speak to? I'll speak to these person. If you get onto the phone, the person's got your CV in front of you, right? And they've got someone else's CV, hypothetical, and they're exactly the same CV, right? Exactly the same. They've spoken to this person on the phone, and he or she sounded nice. You got the personal connection. I tell you what they're doing. They're putting that one down. They got a clue what they like. And they're going to go that one. So I do that. I did. So I ended up on the phone with this recruiter. There, I could follow that. And I set the CV on. She was really nice. She was on the ball. I had a laughing and joking on the phone. Mildly flirtatious. Right? And then she said, I'll get back to you on stage.
Oh, I can't remember that.
That's the recruiter. She's like, what are you doing, Ivan?
You didn't have the qualifications for
the second time, bud. The second episode was phone off.
I can't. Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Brilliant. You want a discount? Yeah. So I phoned out. It's fine. And then I phoned out and everything. So what's the score? Not bad, but I had that rapport then. And I hope you can hear him talking. You done?
Sorry.
Can we continue?
Yes. Carry on.
Long story short, right? I got in. Oh, Jesus Christ! Got the interview. Rocked up, and it was a vocational interview, right? I finished with NEBOSH a year before. I had not touched it. I hadn't touched it, right? I went, pulled up early, obviously always early, put in early, got the car back, got the book out, and the NEBOSH book is about about 4 inches thick. It is, you got to be a pamphlet head, mate, and all this stuff. I hadn't done any of it. I hadn't done any of it. And I was like, looking through, I'll just get it all in my head, get all like fucking 1,000 pages. I loved that. I thought, I'll just go in there, balls out, super confident, I'll just cuff it. That was it. That's it. I said to myself in the car, that's all I've got now. If it's vocational, it means they're going to be asking me questions about health and safety. I haven't got a clue. Just try and cuff it. If you don't know how to cuff it, confidence, that'll get you through it. Yep. I went and sat down, right? And I was overconfident, right? I went in a notepad and pen. And I said, "Hi, nice to meet you." It was two ladies. "Hi, nice to meet you." And it was who would become my boss, and it was her boss, one of the directors. And I went in a notepad, and my intention should have been to place it on the table, sit down. I was full of adrenaline, right? I chucked my notebook, mate. My notebook went flying across the table. Boom! So I was like, "Oh, sorry." I was like, "Jesus Christ!" I go, "What was that?" You never thought, "What is this guy?" I got away with it. Sat down, sort of just passed out. Sat down, went interview, started talking. It wasn't really vacation. They were asking me situational stuff, and just by chance, situations they were asking me about was stuff like, it was quite. Again, I could relate it back to sort of military side of things. Sort of. One of them was one of the questions. If you had a problem with someone repeatedly flouting the rules that you set them to do, how would you approach the situation? The answer's not bang about. But and I gave the explanation, and I knew the reason because I'd done civvy jobs in between my working in Iraq, and so I sort of knew I'll have to have a word with him first, and then have another word with him, and then I'll speak with him. And it was that sort of knew.
Yeah. Super
confident. Like I had at one point in there on the chair across the desk, and I remember what I said. And I was like this. I was slouched in. They were laughing, mate. I don't know what I said. They were all laughing. I thought, this is going well. And I slouched down, and I was like this on the chair, and I went, the other chair. I got back in the interview mode. But the confidence got me through it, and the confidence is one of the things that, regardless of your qualification experience, we being ex-military generally have a lot more of naturally, not put on. I wasn't putting that confidence on. Maybe throwing the flipping notebook across the table was a good accent. But Mike in there sitting there being confident, I wasn't putting it on. We naturally have a lot more of it than civvies do in general. Yeah. Civvies are amazing. We're just different breeds, right? From in adulthood, we've just different experiences. And one of the things that we get out of that as an ex-military is we generally have a lot more confidence, which tells you through. So going back to that flipping tangent of the story, absolutely. Set your sights higher. Absolutely set your sights higher. Go off it because a lot of time as well on your CV, and especially this is another thing that got me into that interview. They actually said it in there. Is that because on my CV I had things to do with the Middle East in security management and whatever. I had sort of the qualification experience, but less than what they needed, but in line with it. Less than what they needed, but I had it nonetheless, right? The Iraq and the Middle East and the ex-military thing interested them.
Yes.
And one of the reasons it got me in is he's interesting. Let's flipping get him in. I wouldn't mind meeting this guy. Absolutely. And they said it to me in there, because I had on there military experience. I had a paragraph on military experience. I learned in the end to put it down, parachute management. But I didn't like that in the end because I didn't want the stigma against it. Yeah. I had ex-British Army and got the rank off. That was it. It's got me in. Confidence got me through the interview. Interest in my CV and having sort of the qualification, but under got go higher. I'll stop ranting now. Go on, you're the guest.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give a couple of points that you actually brought there. Is so when you see these job offers or these job descriptions on all these websites, and you look at them and they say, well, we want a diploma, we want a degree, etc. What you need to remember is that these guys that are creating these adverts for someone in a different team, they're being told, well, I need a project manager that can come in and run this project for 6 months. That's all the scope that they get. So these recruiters, whether it be a recruitment company or the internal recruiter, don't have to go and build out this job advertisement. So what they do is they just start. So what does a PM do? Absolutely. And all of a sudden they start copy and pasting all these qualifications. But the guy, the manager the hiring manager doesn't want all these qualifications. He just wants a PM that can go and do this job. So don't ever be disheartened to apply for a role on a job board or a website that states multiple qualifications that you don't have, because 9 times out of 10 they don't want that anyway. They want someone close to it. One of the things they might say is 5 years experience. But if you've got 3.5 years experience, don't worry because you haven't got 5 years. They'll still consider you. And another point that you made here, I think, is really key. That personal connection. So from doing a little bit of work by going on a job board and submitting your CV and going, okay, well, this woman's name is Jane Doe. She works at ABC Recruitment. Go and find ABC Recruitment. Hi, Jane Doe. I just dropped my CV to you. If you've got you, and actually create that personal connection, because that's key. Because all of a sudden you stood out from. She might have had 100 applications, so her inbox is boom, boom, boom. And they use something called an ATS, applicant tracking system. Most big organisations have them. So they just get inundated with CVs for specific roles. Now, if you can stand out and get that one on that person on the phone and go, hey, I've just said, oh yeah, what's your name? They'll go into their ATS system. Okay, oh yeah, so you're an Afghan. Then all of a sudden you've got that personal connection.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden you are in that person's head and they go, well, actually they're looking for someone with 5 years. We'll set you an interview. Then all of a sudden, I hear all the time, I've sent 150 CVs out and I've not heard a reply. But you're also the 150 person that's emailed for that same role. Make yourself stand out. And again, back to networking. And one of the key elements is networking, because one day you'll see a job that's on, let's say, ABC company, but you met someone from ABC 4 weeks ago at a network. Hey, John, I've just seen this role advertised. Is there any way you could introduce me to the hiring manager? Yeah, no worries, mate. All of a sudden, you've skipped the internal recruit, you've skipped the recruitment, you've gone direct to the hiring manager.
You can even do that out in. I was doing it. I've just remembered I was doing it on the circuit. Yeah. I was doing it out there. I was doing it with Skype. I was doing it with Skype, and when I was looking for work, and I put in a search for new contact, search for a contact, not a contact, search for your friends, whatever it is. You type in Aegis. Every single flipping position in Aegis comes up, and it'll say HR Aegis Afghan. HR. Guess what, friend? Add them as a friend. Add them as a connection request. They accept. You go, I need to make an introduction. But we've gone back to the LinkedIn one. Like a tip for maybe you guys know it. The way I was getting a lot of time when I get the email address, I'm in a connection. For the email address, I go on LinkedIn and look, and I will look on LinkedIn for a recruiter for Barclays as an example, or whoever it is, right? And if I found that, right, that name, that person, you ain't going to get their email address. But what I would do then is, let's say it is Barclays as an example, right? You go on, look for the recruiter, you got the recruiter's name. Let's say it's Jenny Smith. Yeah, Jenny Smith. I would then, in Google, put in @barclays.com, right? Because that is part of the email address. I'd look at so it would come up with not Jenny's email address, but it would come up with like different email addresses of people. In an article where someone's done an article for a local newspaper and they work for Barclays, and his name's John Frederick, but it'll give away the naming system of the emails. And you'll see it'll be john.f@barclays.com, or it'll be John Frederick, maybe the full one, or it could be j.frederick@barclays.com. And guess what I'm doing then? J.Smith for Jenny Smith, j.smith@barclays.com. Email. If it bounces back, I'll try something else. Jenny.s or Jenny, that's how I was getting the email. But before that, I would ring. Jenny Smith, please. What's it about? It's a recruitment inquiry, not a job inquiry. Recruitment inquiry, because then you think you're the other end of the scale. Yeah. I'd make some get on the phone with her. Well, it doesn't matter. And then, but yeah, that's how. So the email format.
And it does, and that's how we've generated business. And as I started off as just me. Back in September with me, and I was trying to generate business, and that's exactly what I did. Is look at it from that scale. As I was actually just typing for business, and I was literally finding companies that I wanted to do business with, and finding the right people in the right and going, hey, can I help you? And getting exactly the same. Find out the name and convention of the email system, just send them an email, give them a call. And again, when you look at this, is the thing. I wouldn't say go and do that for every single role that you want, but if there's a specific role that you think I really want that, it's in your local town, make that extra effort. Don't be one of the people that just sits there, uploads CVs, send.
You're just the same as everyone else. They get thousands of CVs. Thousands of CVs. Every single job gets thousands of CVs these days. You've gotta separate yourself. And that, like you're saying there, doing those little things, the increase in your odds of getting in front of the interviewer go through the roof. All of a sudden, you're not one of the 1.1%. You're one of maybe 5 people who that he or she recruiter has even spoken to. You may be the only person who's spoken to him in person.
It's really disheartening too when you send out your CVs and you don't hear, and you're waiting, and you think, no, I'll definitely get a reply from that one. I definitely will. My CV was spot on. Do a nice cover letter to go with it. I'll definitely get a reply from that one. Out of all of them, that one will reply. And you wait a week, and the second week, and nothing.
If you don't have it within 2 days, because again, these roles, they want to fill these roles. And so I say to people, like, if you're not doing it in 2 days, give them a call. Hey, just before you did get my CV, who are you? Hugo. Let me just check let me just check them. And I'll check on their system.
Yeah, it's in the trash. Yeah.
You're the one that bluffed those quals, aren't you? They are right. But that's exactly it. So I would say to anyone that if you sent your CV, give it a couple of days. You're not doing it, but it's a role you want, and you really want that. Give them a call. There's no harm in it. What are they going to say? No, sorry, the role's been filled. Look,
on to the next one.
Then you can move on to the next one instead of sitting about for 2 weeks. That's the
one. Your hopes up waiting.
And the one with people who you're applying for in your area is go and knock on the flipping door. Go and knock on the door. Like London, people looking jobs in London, you apply for hundreds around there. The companies are often on. The address is always on. Go and knock on the door. Walk in there. Go and get your CV in. I think I did it a few times, but most of the jobs applying for London, I was hardly ever down there. But I remember thinking I need to go and do. My plan was to go and spend a day doing it. I did.
Be different, and that's key. I mean, whether it be knocking on the door, whether it be called up, be different. Look, the fact is, it's very easy to sit on the internet behind the back of a laptop and go upload CV, apply, because that's what people do. It's a numbers game to a lot of people. They'll go and do 1,000 applications in one day because you start looking at doing percentages. Even if it is at 0.1%, that's actually quite a high number. So I would just say to anyone that is either looking for a new role or is wanting to start a new career, and you don't know what to do when you're applying for roles and jobs, be different. Whether that be who sends their CV in the post, man? Why not send it in the post with a chocolate bar or something quirky?
That's a good point, mate. That's a good point, actually.
Be quirky, because the fact is, everyone's looking for something that's a bit.
You've got to put yourself in the memory. That's it.
And that's what I would say to people. Look, if I received a CV in the post, I'd be like, I want to meet this guy. This guy's gone above and beyond.
Yeah, you can't, Charlene, you can't not invite him in. He sent us chocolate, Charlene.
Melted chocolate bar.
But you would see, but you see people, you look at people that go and work in Google and places like that. That's what they do now. If they're going to look for a new, 6-7 figure salary, they're going to need to stand out from the crowd.
It's funny you should say that. Recently,
you're going to talk shit now. This
is
going to be a ridiculous story. I can see it in your
face.
I can see it in your face. I can see it in your face.
I had to come through the post the other day. I bought it off eBay, and they replied back with like a thank you, and I had 3 little sweets in the envelope.
Oh, that's not too bad.
I did eat them. They were a bit cheap. They were a bit cheap and nasty, little hard-boiled things.
You bought something off there?
I bought something, and they sent me.
What you've done to those sweets?
They sent me my 3 little hard-boiled.
Did you buy a bag of sweets, Jack?
No. I saw it. It's just a thank you. Please use this again, kind of thing.
What did you buy?
I can't remember. I'll have to look.
You can remember. What did you buy?
I can't remember.
Yes, you
All I
can.
can remember is the 3 sweets. Just him saying the chocolate bar triggered the memory. That's it.
You bought 3 sweets.
Yeah. Thank you.
He bought 4 sweets. They mugged him off. Thank you. What's next for Y2K?
Y2X.
Oh my god! I've been doing this all week.
Yeah, Y2K. That's what.
All week.
As people.
Change the name again.
No, it's. I like Y2X.
It's only for us millennials. It's only.
So what's next for us? We're still very young. I think for us is to do some organic growth. Maybe look for some investment. But my concern with doing that is that we lose our mantra of, our whole ethos as an organisation. So it's build the business, keep building the business, and helping more veterans. As I said, we don't just employ veterans. We help. I helped multiple veterans over the last 7-8 months. Get roles, whether it be with our organisation or with organisations, and just keep doing what we're doing and try and grow. and that's all we can do.
It's amazing, mate.
Yeah, it's
It's amazing. How can people get hold of you? What it's Y2X?
Yeah, so www.y2x.uk.
Y2X.uk.
.uk. So or info@y2x.uk. So they can drop me an
Social
email.
media.
Yeah, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook. Again, we're not. I'm on Twitter, but we would rather LinkedIn because this is professional. You know, people say, "Oh, get an Instagram, get a Facebook," but for us, we are a professional organisation, and you know, even though we're very close knit, we like to stay to the professional element. So LinkedIn is the best one to look. And again, just look at Y2X. We're on LinkedIn. We've got a group page. And we've got, if you want to speak to any of the team members, any of the veterans, you'll see a lot of the posts for those guys in it that we've helped or that have started working for us. So feel free to reach out to them and they'll give you their advice as well. So these are guys that have actually done the transition recently or still transitioning.
Is that stuff on your website as well?
Yeah.
Oh, you got amazing. Y2X.uk.
Yep.
Anything else you want to mention before we wrap it up?
No, thank you for inviting me. Thank you guys.
But that's the pleasure. I can't believe I know you. I can't believe I know you. You're doing amazing, mate. You're doing amazing. We're coming out to London soon for
Yeah,
do a
so-
couple of shows. We'll come and tell you.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And anything we can do for you, let us know.
Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Jesus Christ. Squeeze
Long
me
hour,
out.
innit?
See you later, live feed. Bye. Oh, it's not over yet. Yeah, I want to have my live stream. I did it last week. Yeah.
Just still going.
Done.